Now, I know what you might be thinking. Hold on, didn't TrekCulture just do a list on starship entrances? And we did. Therein lies the difference. We've done starship entrances, but we haven't done starship reveals, and it's different enough for me to get another article out of it. Make sure that you check out the original article over on whatculture.com. Thank you. Let's get going. I'm Sean for TrekCulture, and here are the 10 greatest ship reveals in Star Trek. Number 10, USS Defiant, The Search, Part 1. Deep Space Nine's third season opens with the great reveal of the USS Defiant, Starfleet's new, and at the time only, warship. The second season had closed with the destruction of the USS Odyssey by the Jem'Hadar, so the need to beef up security suddenly became a lot more important. Commander Sisko had been stationed at the Utopia Planitia prior to taking up his post on the station, and in his time there had been part of the design team on the Defiant. It was intended to fight the Borg, though the Dominion threat bumped up its launch date. The scene is brilliant. The main crew on the station are in ops waiting for Sisko to return. What they don't expect is a burst of tachyons right beside the docking ring, nor a ship to decloak so close. They are even more confused by the reveal that this ship is of Starfleet origin, using a Romulan cloaking device loaned under the provisor that Starfleet shall share all intel gathered on the Dominion with them. It's a great scene and a bold start to the new year. Number 9, Starbase Yorktown, Star Trek Beyond. The reveal of this giant snow globe in space is one of the highlights from the third Kelvin Universe film. At first glance, one might agree with McCoy that it's something doomed to explode, killing all aboard. And there is an intricacy to this starbase that hadn't been seen in Star Trek before, so it immediately stands out. Much like the giant mushroom that first appeared in The Search for Spock, this starbase welcomes Starfleet vessels inside. In fact, this one is a little bit more fun, as the ships pass beneath the many walkways, bridges and towers that make up the floating city. The scene in which the Enterprise floats lazily along the starship track gives the film ample opportunity to show off this gorgeous design, while Michael Giacchino's score is playfully dropped all round. As this scene also offers us the last beauty shots of the Kelvin Enterprise, sob, it's got everything going for it. We'd love a fourth Kelvin Universe film simply to see this station float again, perhaps with a cheeky visit from the Enterprise A. Number 8, the Phoenix's final form, Star Trek First Contact. Perhaps this will be considered sacrilege, but Star Trek First Contact's best ship reveal comes toward the end of the film, rather than the many gorgeous shots in the beginning. Now, we already included the arrival of the Enterprise E in our list of ship entrances, so even though that first shot of the Sovereign class is wonderful, it's the Phoenix that takes the spot here. Consider this, the Phoenix is one of the most important ships in human history, and as an audience we get 3 separate reveals of it. First, we see it as an upright rocket, though of course we can only see a fraction of it. Then later we see it rising from the silo, showing off the size of the missile itself. Only after it sheds the assembly that boosted it into the atmosphere do we finally see the Phoenix begin to unfurl her nacelles, spooling up the Bussard collectors and getting ready for that historic first flight. All of this plays while the Borg have effective control of the Enterprise E, so while this amazing scene is playing out, it's juxtaposed against extreme tension. This, in many ways, makes it one of the most memorable reveals in Trek history. Number 7, Romulan Warbird, The Neutral Zone. Andrew Probert's design for the Romulan vessel that would dwarf the Enterprise D is both simple and brilliant. Admittedly, the first version, a vertically aligned ship, may have been a bit too odd, though the surprise appearance of the Warbird remains one of the best moments from the Next Generation's first season. The Romulan Warbird is an awesome sight as it decloaks in front of the Enterprise. It glides toward them, its immense size showing off the strength of one of Starfleet's oldest enemies. In a somewhat ironic twist, Gene Roddenberry had toyed with the idea of bringing the Romulans back, only to have them completely destroyed, setting the stage for the Borg. It is definitely for the best that this never came to fruition. The Warbird's appearance here, along with the many that followed, is simply too good to imagine any other outcome. As it faces down the Galaxy-class ship, it looks as though, were things to erupt into combat, it would be a short fight. The fact that Mark Alaimo played the Romulan commander here helps, we won't lie. Number 6, Klingon Bird of Prey, Star Trek III, The Search for Spock. The Search for Spock spoils the audience with great ship reveals, so much so that it's a challenge to pick just one. There's the reveal of Space Dock, filling the entire screen as its doors open to welcome the Enterprise. There's the new Excelsior, moored and ready for trial runs. There's even the Grissom floating through space, heading to its fate. So choosing just one is a bit cruel, but the decloaking Klingon Bird of Prey, sizzling into life above the doomed merchantman, just takes the top spot. The bright green paint, a holdover from its original genesis as a Romulan vessel, stands out beautifully against the blackness of space, and the dull copper brown of the smuggler's ship. The ship is by no means enormous, it's simply bigger than the other vessel. However, knowing that it's crewed by Klingons, and that Klingons are not known for taking prisoners, considering how well this reveal and subsequent appearances through the film were received by audience, it's little wonder that the Bird of Prey became one of the most well-known, enduring designs in the franchise as a whole. Number 5, Riemann Scimitar, Star Star Trek Nemesis. For the 10th Star Trek film, the crew of the Enterprise E needed a proper foe to battle. They received one in the form of the Romulan Warbird Scimitar, one of the baddest looking ships in Trek history. While the film itself is mixed in terms of quality, it's hard to argue anything but the power of this ship's reveal. The design evokes the Klingon bird of prey, on steroids, as it slides out from under its cloak. The setup for the scene, in which Picard is exhausted from all of the waiting they've had to do, lulls the audience into a false sense of security. Of course, we should have known when Picard stood just off center with the view screen in wide view behind him. The scimitar decloaks, though it is so large that it takes a few seconds for it to become entirely visible. Its core is bulked, but its edges are sharp, and as it closes in on the Enterprise, Worf counts off the many weapons platforms, torpedo launchers, and phaser banks that are now pointed at them. It's a nerve-wracking moment, especially when one remembers the film was advertised as the next generation's final journey. Number 4. Pike's Enterprise. Will you take my hand? The reveal of the redesigned USS Enterprise for Star Trek Discovery and later Star Trek Strange New Worlds was quite frankly jaw-dropping. It arrives at the close of the final episode of the show's first season, sliding out of nowhere before filling the entire screen with its beauty. Alexander Courage's original series theme plays while the ship zooms by. There are enough differences from Matt Jeffrey's design to make John Eve's redesign sparkle. The nacelles are swept back, much like the movie iteration, but the cylindrical nacelles are back in place. Returning too is the old-style deflector dish, though the torpedo launchers have been scrapped from the neck. The saucer section has a slightly sharper edge, and the sensor dome on the underside is bright and shining. Full disclosure, I first saw this episode while watching it on my phone on a bus. The passengers beside me must have been wondering what on earth was happening as I went from smiling through Burnham's speech to crying during this scene. No lie, that's how much I loved this reveal. The complete shock that came with it, while those famous numbers came up on screen, solidified this as one of the best reveals in recent Trek years. Number 3. The OG Defiant in a Mirror Darkly Part 1. Did anyone really expect this before the episode aired? That Star Trek Enterprise, in its end run of episodes, would craft a hidden sequel to the Tholian Web is just bonkers, while also completely fitting with Manny Koto's run as a showrunner. The reveal that the Tholians didn't destroy the USS Defiant, Constitution class, but simply moved it to another universe is staggering. While the Terran crew discusses what these anomalous readings could be, there is a slow zoom into the asteroid, inside which the old Connie sits there docked. It's a reveal that shows not only the classic designs, but the absolute balls-to-the-wall insanity that this mirror universe story was going to swing for. It was fantastic to see Matt Jeffrey's design back once more, realised in glorious HD, before it later swoops through space, destroying contemporary 22nd century craft. One never really stopped to think about the power that the ship had in the 60s, but if one wanted an example of it, look no further than the debris field that used to be an armada of Tholian, Vulcan, and Andorian ships. Number 2. The New Enterprise, Star Trek the Motion Picture. Never before had a starship been given such a long and loving reveal as the USS Enterprise in Star Trek the Motion Picture. The scene divides audiences, and there are valid arguments on both sides. This writer is firmly in the camp that it is an outstanding scene, yet I concede that one wouldn't want to be in any kind of a hurry. Admiral Kirk's approach to the vessel via shuttlepod is a victory lap around the newly refit ship. Gone now are the cylindrical nacelles that were a staple of Matt Jeffrey's earlier design, replaced by sleeker rectangular ones. They were now swept back rather than jutting directly out from the hull. This we see from the aft. When the ship is revealed in full from the fore, we can see that the 60s style deflector dish has been removed, replaced with a concave section of the front of the drive section. There now sits a torpedo launcher above, merged with the neck of the ship. As Jerry Goldsmith's score rains down on the scene, it's hard not to feel all of the emotions seeing this giant of engineering moored and ready to take on V'ger. Number 1. The Enterprise D Vox. This scene evokes memory of the new Enterprise from the motion picture. We as an audience had seen the Enterprise D many times before, so what kind of reveal could place it so highly on this list? The collective gasp as the lights came on after Hangar 12's doors slide open, revealing the rescued saucer section of a previously unsalvageable ship. Star Trek Picard's third season was clearly designed to hammer home the idea of nostalgia while actually telling a good story along the way. Photos of the bridge set did leak months prior to the episode's release, but there really was nothing quite like that moment of the Enterprise D coming back to life. Geordi explains that the drive section is from the USS Syracuse, while the saucer section is the Enterprise's original. The burn marks from its descent to the surface of Iridian 3 are still present, adding an extra layer of authenticity. The crew's reactions to mirror the audience's, mixing wonder and awe, even failing words at times too. The reveal was a gift to long-term Trekkies, and it's one we were grateful to receive. That's everything for our list today, folks. If you reckon there should be more, let us know, and as I said, don't forget to check out both the 10 greatest greatest ship entrances in Star Trek list, and of course the original article on the website as well. Thank you so much to Mel Braun for the edit for this video. Remember, you can catch us over on Twitter at TrekCulture. You can catch us on Instagram at TrekCultureYT. Catch myself at Sean Ferrick on the various socials as well. Until I'm talking to you again, make sure that you live long and prosper. Make sure that you look after yourselves. Slava Ukraina. You are all awesome. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.